Hello and welcome to this week's Dissecting Design. We're turning back the clock and taking a look at Prototype, what I feel is a very underrated entry in the open world style genre, popularized by games like Grand Theft Auto, Spider-Man 2, Just Cause, and so on. Prototype was originally released in 2009 by Radical Entertainment, and as you can see by this lovely little cutscene here, has to do with basically trying to fight back against mutants and all manner of strange creatures. There's our protagonist Alex Mercer, which we'll be talking about him for sure in the coming minutes. But I'm just going to go to the main screen so we don't get distracted by that. Prototype is a very interesting entry in the open world genre. It came out around the time of stuff like Infamous, as well as the kind of maturing or growing in terms of the genre as well. And while the game was popular enough to get a sequel, sadly, this is a case of a two-game entry that also sadly closed the studio. And Radical Entertainment deserves far more praise, I think, than what they got. And we're going to see that in the coming minutes. But I'm going to load up my file here, and we're going to talk about the basics of Prototype and this kind of superhero open world genre design. But I'll talk to you all in a second. Alright, we are now in game, and for the first time, I think in this Dissecting Design series, I've had to raise the volume on my headset because the game was so low. So here we are in yet another game that takes place in New York City. That seems to be the popular one for this kind of genre. As you can see, we are playing as Alex Mercer, one of the most generic white dudes, I think, in the genre. And basically the story is, we have been infected by a very strange pathogen that is slowly but surely taking over New York. Our mission is to figure out what happened to us and make those responsible pay. As with the open world genre of the time, and even today, the entire game space is open from the start, as you can see here, with select missions and bonus content available as well. Now, a key part of what made Prototype work so well is your mobility, or actually more specifically your power. As Alex here, we are the most powerful guy on the field. I can run, grab cars, just fling them because I wanted to, run up buildings, glide. We can even mutate ourselves. Let's see if I can do this right. There we go. We can even camouflage ourselves based on the people that we eat. Yeah, and you heard me, we eat and devour people in this game. And we have the stealth consume. There we go. And now we're just a random pedestrian that no one seems to care that we're just gliding around. Wall run. And yes, there are lots and lots of collectibles. EP, or evolution points, represents our experience in the game, and we'll talk more about that in our next section when we discuss the progression curve. Now, as you can see, we have a lot of real estate to explore in this game, and for those, as I said in the last section, there's a reason why Radical Entertainment deserved, I think, a lot more praise than what it gotten, as this was the developer behind Hulk Ultimate Destruction, one of my all-time favorite open world games. And as you're watching me run, wall jump, glide, and of course, slam down to the ground, this should look very similar to that game. When they lost the IP, I think, for Hulk, they basically created Prototype as their own original one. Oh, look. Another major part of the game is finding important people that are part of our conspiracy to absorb and gain their memories, using the web of intrigue. So, hello, and goodbye. And we get a little cutscene every time we do this.
Stole that shit, Corporal. Get her in the vehicle. You, rendezvous.
Alright. And the Web of Intrigue basically gives us lore as well as bonuses. And I'll load up the full one right now. So as we find more people, we're given clues as to where the next person is in this chain. But as we complete the sequence, it's supposed to unlock basically the story of it. Some of the characters are part of the force missions, while others are just literally wandering the streets. Like we saw that poor soul. Now, if we do get detected too much, they will summon the military to try and kill us. But we can easily just stealth our way around. But with that said, we're going to move on to our next section, and we're going to talk about the progression curve of Prototype, and when things get even crazier in terms of missions. So, I will see you all in a second. When it comes to Prototype in terms of its progression curve, it is built on the abstraction of acquiring new skills. While the game is played entirely in real time, what you're able to do is all built around what upgrades you grab. And more becomes available as time goes on. Some of these are locked behind prerequisites, such as having to consume specific officers, and so on. But stuff like this ground spike, shield, we can even turn our arms into giant hammers, and stuff like that. But everything is again tied to your evolution points, and specifically to the quest that you're going to do. So what I'm going to do now is very casually sneak into this military base and see if there's anyone here we can use. Every base has a commander that we can take over and get into the base. So we'll go right in here. And if you look, the DNA characters are those that give us a special power if we can consume them all. The idea is we can't consume them stealthily unless they are hidden away from the other characters. There we go. Take you. Alright, so now we can call in artillery strikes, and they won't notice. Hello. And we'll skip the movie just to keep things going. I can run. Hello. Don't mind me. I'm just a random guard, just walking around, eating people. Wait for it. And yeah, we wanted to go loud, we could do that, but at this stage of the game, I'm not exactly the best to take out multiple guys. There we go. And no one notices when I jump 30 feet in the air, either. Like that. Nobody cares. Sure you do. Come on. Wait for it. Come on. Go away, guys. I'm trying to get him. There we go. So that's everybody in the base we just killed. Or our main target. So I can leave now. Again, no one seems to care. Now we could also destroy this base. So let me just run up here. And we could try this. Let's see. So there's our base. I don't think I'll be able to destroy this like so, but we'll see what happens. Thank you. Yeah, we know. That is not going to be enough. Now there was a APC around, I could take that over. Now to get away, I need to get out of sight and then switch my disguise. Like so. But later on, once I get more devastating powers, I'll be able to destroy this building a lot easier. Now, besides just walking around grabbing people, I can also transform him into different forms. Basic combos, and more get unlocked via the upgrade system. Because we did that whole building, we got a decent amount. Air dash, rolls, increased jumping, and so on. Now, as with the open world genre, more features and content do become unlocked as we complete the main missions. Oh look, glowy collectibles. Oh, come on, get over there. Alright, more for my little goal there.
Get your sorry ass on point and check out that possible. It almost fell down.
And again, just to keep things moving along, we're going to skip the cutscenes. Each mission is pretty much hard-coded. There really aren't too many variables or ways to do things differently. And as the game goes on, you'll find bosses and special enemy fights that will also unlock new powers. But as you can see, we're already pretty badass to begin with. Running up walls, doing this kooky little dive, and we're coming to an infected area. Well, as part of the story of the game is this pathogen that's spreading and turning people into zombies and monsters.
What is that?
Alright. Let's see if we can take it down fairly quickly. God.
This stuff.
So that was a hunter. And we'll be fighting them for real later on. No, get away from that. That's mine. There we go. Get away. Oh, you want to do something there, helicopter? Hold on. You just wait right there.
We have major damage. Over.
When in doubt, just pick up the car and throw it at people. Alright, so we can just disguise ourselves.
Target's gone ugly. Stay alert.
There we go, die. Uh-oh, nope. We gotta fight him for real now.
Mark with strobe if possible. Over.
And there's different combos based on X and Y.
Red crowd. We're holding.
Alright, we'll consume him to finish him off.
To engage. Let's get some.
Uh-oh. As you can see, they are not too happy with me right now. Should be another incubator. Is that it, or is it somewhere else? Uh-oh. Anybody down here? We'll let our disguise wear out just to give me a chance to recover. Again, they don't notice me flying around.
Thunder in the blue zone. Subject MIA. John 3 has lost visual. You want us to sweep?
Come on, where are you? There you are. Alright, so I have to kill it before it mutates. Let's see, what will be the easiest way? Maybe this will do. There we go, better. Give it to me. And we'll get enhanced ways to grab and throw stuff later on. Alright, that should be enough. Alright, checkpoint reached. So now what's going to happen? And there's a high that's pumping out more and more creatures. That's not good. I guess we're collecting here.
No time for props, boys. Get on down to the final red zone and clean it up.
I can also take over those tanks thanks to an upgrade. But right now, our concern, rather than those things trying to eat me, grab all that lovely genetic material. Now, you look in the upper left, my health bar is glowing blue. That means we are overcharged. This means if I had a Devastator ability, I could activate it. And those become unlocked through story missions. So right now I'm just going to quickly run around and get these. And every mission is different. Get out of my way, you. How's the building doing, by the way? Oh, hey, don't shoot me. That. Alright, halfway there. I'm playing the game on normal right now. There's also a hard mode that becomes unlocked. Jeez. Thankfully, the genetic material is also keeping me healed. Pardon me. Excuse me. I'm just basically ganking their items. Oh. I'll take you. Oh. Once we get more upgrades, those hunters won't be that much of a threat. Let's do like a little dodge roll. There it is. As long as there are normal enemies around for me to consume, we can just keep regenerating our health. Or even just civilians. Because Alex doesn't care about civilians in this game. Let's do that. And once this mission is over, we will most likely unlock something new. Be it new side content, new powers, just something else to keep things moving along. One more should do the job. Out of my way, tank. Mission done. Oh. And now we have to get out of here. Oh. Ow. There we go. They'll lose track of me in a minute. Once the alert has gone, I'll check out the upgrades. There we go. Thank you. And as the game goes on, more areas are going to become infected, and they'll become trouble for us to go through. So again, here's a base that we can go into and see what's in there. We could go after this hive. But if we come over to our upgrades, as you can see, a whole lot more have been unlocked. Okay, make our flip kick more powerful. More critical mass. Gain increased health. More artillery. And again, more of this will become unlocked as we get further in. So we just unlock that. Unlock the hammer fist power. Increase our ability to throw. Oh, we got whip fists. There we go. Yeah. So as you can see, we have various defensive and offensive powers.
Clear to withdraw as discretionary.
Once they leave, we'll test them out.
Upload your intel on touchdown.
Alright. Meanwhile, I'm just gliding around. Nobody cares. So these are the claws again. So now we can do this ground spike. Muscle mass is essentially our heavy punch. We're very slow like this. But as we upgrade, we'll just be able to do massive damage. Oh wait, muscle mass is that? Hammer fist. This is the one I was talking about. There we go. This is basically the closest we'll get to like Hulk power and prototype. But this is like the perfect ability to use against vehicles and heavy enemies. And then we have multiple guys attacking. We go for the whip fists. Whee! Uh-oh. Get over here, you. But again, a very varied mix of powers and things that you can do in prototype. Now those green markings on the map are the side quest events, and they become very important because all these lovely upgrades we're getting, they cost a lot. And we're playing this on hard mode, it really does become required, especially the healing and damage upgrades. Oh, that's just me smashing things. But we're going to cut things and we'll show off a side quest next. And then we'll talk more about kind of the pros and cons that the Prototype series had to offer. Alright, so the side quests in Prototype are your additional things to do when you're not going on missions or randomly eating people. They're each designed around a specific objective, as you can see there, and 3 rings of bronze, silver, and gold. If you get gold on every mission or every side mission in the game, you unlock platinum challenges. Out of my way, you. Oh. Do some lock on there. Man, they are ripping me apart, aren't they? Trying to get the command for the missile launcher. I'm not getting it. There we go. That'll help out. only have a minute 10. Oh, or less. Out my way. Got a big old crowd coming. And if you haven't guessed by now, this is a rampage mission. Alright, we got bronze score. Now, in Prototype 2, they take things further by letting you compete with high scores with your friends. But yeah, pretty much just go out, kill them all. Alright, we got silver, but I only have 20 seconds. I don't know if I'm going to get a gold. Nope. Oh. Alright, let's try one more time with our missiles now firmly in check. There's also challenges based on getting around the city fast enough, hitting waypoints, and so on. And there's a crowd, just blast them all. This is probably the safest option, is keep both weapons blazing every second. Lock on, don't fail me now. How's that guy still not dead? Come on. Keep it coming. So my missile or my machine gun recharge for a second. Come on. Bring it on, guys. Oh, he just went flying. This is certainly a lot better than our last one so far. They survived all those exploding cars? Alright, there's our bronze again. At this rate, we will definitely hit silver. But gold is another matter. That. Come on. 20 seconds. Can we do it? Get off me, you. There we go. We got gold. Now, platinum does not unlock until we do every mission. So I don't know if we're even getting close to the platinum goal for that one. But mission accomplished. And reward EP. Get out there. And of course no one notices us flying away. Oh, I think this is a stealth one coming up. I love that guy. Oh no. That I think is the wrong inflection for what just happened. There's us running up along the walls. Hello. And goodbye. Alright. All we have to do is consume all the targets. Shouldn't be too bad. And the game does a good job of giving you a lot of variety, both in terms of the mission structures as well as the side areas. There we go. Alright, where are you, buddy? Again, nobody notices me just flying around like that. Hello. And goodbye. And again, we're keeping this video short just by ignoring the cutscenes. Again, flying military general, nobody seems to care. Ooh. Now, with the upgrades tied to missions, it does mean that you are forced to do them while you're gaining more power. But you're usually given enough in terms of the upgrades to have more than enough chance of beating said missions. So, who are you, buddy? Hello. And don't pay attention to the fact that they all use the same character model either. Yeah, nothing conspicuous about that. And where are you?
Williamson, Ali, get up now.
Oh. There we go. Kind of broke it there, but that's fine. So another set of missions done. And as you can see, more are still available on the map. Oh, look, collectible shiny right there. One thing that I do like about the collectibles, as you hit certain tiers or certain thresholds, their bonus for collecting them goes up. Just a smart way of still giving an incentive while making sure they scale towards the ever-growing costs. So I think we'll do one more side mission, and then we'll talk a little bit about why the series unfortunately did not turn out as well as it could have. But let's do this. Here you go. Stealth Consume is just worth it. It really is. It makes life so much easier for you in this game. What's interesting is that the game Spider-Man Web of Shadow, I think that's the one that was called, that came out a few years ago, followed a similar model in terms of having New York basically degrade into the zombie apocalypse over the course of the game. But that one also had more of a morality to it. In this game, there really isn't morality. Like I said, Alex likes to kill people, and that's pretty much it. Alright, where's our commander?
Winder, move your dead ass. Morrissey, you're on point.
There you are. Just turn around, buddy. There we go. Now we can go in. And again, we could do this the violent way, or we could try and be stealthy. Don't mind me, guys. This is the worst paramilitary force, I think, we've seen. Look at him. Don't mind me. There we go. There's one. The green one is our target, while the blue one is just for bonus. And yes, if we really wanted to, we could just spend like the next 10 minutes just killing everyone in this base one at a time. Hello. Turn around, buddy. There's just something very disturbing about this, isn't it, folks? The best part is that if you start the animation when no one's looking and then they turn around, it looks even more disturbing as you're just like eating people and they're just watching you do it. call more artillery strikes. And let's get you. Thank you. We don't learn anything in this game. We just eat the people who know it and take their knowledge. Again, nobody notices. There's some little narrative dissonance, right, folks? Alright, that's everybody in the base taken care of. Now we can just ever so carefully glide over to the exit. And mission accomplished. And again, if we come back over here, we probably have enough to upgrade more of our powers. Hammer Fist. Like, this is our armor killer. Very similar to what they do in Hulk Ultimate Destruction. And let's see. The abilities that are marked core are those that the game deem are very important to making life easier for you. There we go. Get ourselves some more abilities. Good. Doing these little air dashes are very important for the momentum that you gain. There's one. There's two. And it becomes all the more important when you do races. But with that said, we're going to move into probably either our last or second to last section, as we're going to talk about why this crazy series just did not go as well as everyone hoped it would. Welcome back. I figure to give ourselves a little bit more excitement while we're talking, I'm going to have the military try and kill me while we're talking about why the game didn't turn out as well as everybody wanted to. So, as I said at the start, Prototype was good enough to have 2 games in the series. And the problem, though, is that they never managed to, I think, take this as far as people wanted. First off, Alex Mercer is just a... No one warmed up to Alex as a protagonist. He is your generic, Moby white protagonist kind of guy. Never really grows out of that. And for the second game, they replaced Moby white protagonist trope with the angry black man protagonist trope with that character, who basically goes after Alex in the second game when he becomes a generic villain trying to take over the world. And never felt like there was a concrete or a coherent story in Prototype. Now, with Hulk Ultimate Destruction, they were able to get around that by the fact that you were playing as the Hulk. And the Hulk as a protagonist in that game worked really well. But when you're playing just like these generic guys, however, there's not a lot to hold your attention. Now, the other point is that you're really given all these crazy powers and abilities, and you never really get to do a whole lot with them. Every mission is built on essentially playing through the game using only your core abilities. So you're never really tested on mastering the Hammer Fist, or doing crazy stuff like this. I'm sure a lot of people didn't like the overall violence you could do to civilians either. The second game tried to up the ante with more side-based content, but again, you reach that point where you've gotten all the upgrades you needed, so why should I spend time doing more side quests? No one's seeming to come to stop me, that's kind of weird. There we go, now they're coming. But the city of New York, while I'm sure it's modeled pretty close to it, it suffers from that very generic open world structure that we see. That a lot of these areas you're just going to glide around, and who really cares about anything else? And it's very hard to do open world environments right, because you have to give the player a reason to explore, but when you're able to just glide around, why should you take time on the ground to look at stuff? This is one of the reasons why the Crackdown series, with their focus on agility and trying to find the agility orbs, kind of got around that issue. Now, the movement in the prototype games, the system itself is good. Again, you're able to dash and wall jump and glide and all manner of crazy stuff like that. But it does run into some issues with, it can be very hard to do fine micro adjustments. As once you start running, you're not stopping. Oh. Get over here, you. Just jump kick helicopters, right? As the game goes on and more virus content is introduced, it makes it harder to do the exploring because you're going to be constantly tracked by hunters or the military base. But there's just nothing here on the map that gives you a sense of wanting to explore it. Yes, there are 200 landmark orbs around, but again, the only point of getting them is for evolution points. And again, once you get enough of those, you don't really need to care about them anymore. For those of you watching this, here's a question for you. Can you think of open world games that made the actual open world engaging enough to want to explore? I thought the Mad Max game came close, thanks to its focus on vehicular, wow, I can't talk anymore, driving and combat. Or even something like Just Cause, that lets you just go around, grab helicopters, and go crazy. But in this game, and with Prototype 2, you'll hit that point where you're just going to pick a direction, glide, and just repeat until you get to the mission. The game also runs into an issue with the boss fights, which are very pattern-heavy, and can become a little bit of a health sponge to fight. The whole web of intrigue sounds like a great idea, but it's really just more or less a glorified collectible system, because you're not unlocking new missions or new things like that. In fact, the only part of the progression that works really well, I think, is being able to go after people to absorb them to upgrade your abilities. There's only so many of those in the game. There you go, nobody notices me now. And as you saw in that last section with the stealth, the game definitely falls into the ludonarrative dissonance and that kind of thing. So you're expecting a hardcore stealth game, this is definitely not it. I've been trying to fly around and cause destruction, and not much is happening. And there really isn't a lot of permanence that you do to this map. You can destroy bases and hives, but that's about it. The real sense of persistence comes with the missions, but they are forced on you after each one. And as I said at the start, there is no morality in this game either. So there's no moral choice as to, do I kill someone or I let them live? Which I think was kind of that extra little touch of Web of Shadow. Or Web of Shadows actually changed the game based on what your choices were and gave you different abilities because of it. But, as you see with Prototype, again, unless you're doing a mission or going after something, the rest of the world is just very generic because of it. Oh look, more people to eat. And again, nobody cares. Take you. And you. And you. Well, that was easy. So while there are a lot of events, as you can see, there's just no real reason to do them. Maybe if you can unlock special abilities or unlock more, or tie the mission unlocking to side quests, as they've done with other open world style games, that could be a different story. Again, nobody notices me. I'm just completely stealthy right now, folks. But nevertheless, the prototype games had a really good feel to them. But with that said, let's go back to the main menu and we'll discuss my final thoughts. Let's wrap things up for this week's Dissecting Design. Prototype had a really good foundation, as evident by the fact that they really tried to replicate that overwhelming power that we saw with Hulk Ultimate Destruction. But the problem was they never really managed to take it further, whether from a story perspective or from challenging the player. And that's always the risk you run when you give the player all manner of crazy abilities, because then you have to figure out, how do I use this, or how do I test the player on them? We've seen similar issues with games like Portal, with trying to come with different ways to manipulate the portal gun, or the variety of tactics we see in a game like Prey. But with Prototype, you get all these crazy powers and abilities, but the main missions, and even the side quests, never really require them. Outside of the core abilities which you saw on the previous parts, everything else is simply supplementary. And while yes, you could say that they are required or they make the side content a lot easier, there's no real motivation to do said side content, because once again, you get enough EP and you don't need to worry about anything else. Like I said, Prototype came out, the original one, in 2009. And this is before we started to see we saw like the growth of the Assassin's Creed franchise, and even stuff like more with the Just Cause series and so on. But Prototype occupies that very weird middle ground, I think, between trying to do something that's more story focused while still saying, give the player a bunch of powers and go nuts. And while I did enjoy Prototype, I think the overall package was better with Hulk Ultimate Destruction, because again, that property works really well for this. And Prototype just never really managed to grab anyone with these protagonists. But I would love to see more developers try this in terms of the overwhelming power and the fact that mobility and movement in Prototype was really great. Your ability to air dash, glide, wall jump, and so on just makes it enjoyable to get around. The only problem is that there just really wasn't much to get around to. For those of you watching this, besides big name examples like Prototype, Just Cause, and Spider-Man, can you think of other games that made it really fun and engaging to just move around on the map? Let me know in the comments below, but thank you for watching this week's Dissecting Design. Tune in most Mondays for a brand new episode, and check back daily here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games, for discussions on game design. But otherwise, I am Josh Beiser. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you all for our next video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check back around 10 Eastern for regular streaming. If you'd like to suggest games for me to cover or topics to talk about, let me know in the comments below. For a collection of my writings as well as weekly podcasts on design, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the Game Wisdom Patreon, you can find us on there on patreon.com/gwbeiser. $1 will get you into our private Discord channel where we talk game topics and more. $5 will get you voting privileges for any major event, including the Saturday Night Grab Bag, Patreon-funded goals, and more. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy more videos here on the Game Wisdom YouTube channel.